All right, what's up, man? Hey, I wanted to get you a quick video just kind of going through nutrition labels and kind of what we're looking for with your first week on nutrition tracking. So, first thing, when you open up your app, I don't want you getting too bogged down with all of this data. Okay, this is super, super important, but I want you really focused on just two things for me. Okay, number one is going to be calories. So, as you're scanning in your food or you're putting in food, we want to be watching your overall caloric intake each day. That's going to be, a composite of your fats, your carbohydrates, and your protein. Okay, so those three variables are going to make up your total caloric intake for the day. And that's really what we're looking at. We want to make sure that with your programming, we're in a slight deficit. So we're able to utilize stored fat on your body, right? So if we drop your calories too low, then what we're going to have is you'll lose weight most likely, but you could also be losing muscle. You may be hungry. You might be grumpy. You might be miserable, right? So we don't want to drop that number too low. We want to create just this little bit of a deficit so that you're able to utilize stored fat on your body. But again, not so much so that you're, bad mood, grumpy, not able to sustain the changes we're making. Okay. Also, we don't want to be right above that sort of baseline, because then we're either maintaining weight or gaining weight. So the numbers become really important as we try to find that slight deficit point where you can enjoy life a little bit more and not go without too much. So to do that, we're going to be looking at your overall caloric intake. And I want you also focused on your protein. All right. So you're going to get goals within the app for your daily caloric intake, daily protein intake. And I want you focused on those two things right now. If you prefer more carbohydrates over fats, I'm okay with that at this point. Okay. We can tweak that over time based on how you're feeling, but really overall caloric intake, overall protein intake is kind of what's most important to me right now. Okay. And you'll get a recommendation each week for those two numbers. And I want you to aim for those. Okay. If you're not exactly on point, not a big deal, but I want you to get as close as you can to your daily recommended calories and your protein. Now, every Friday, you're going to scan in on the InBody scan and put your new information into the app. And based on your results for that week, it's going to adapt and change. So you're going to see some change week to week on your calories, carbs, fats, protein based on results you get. So that way we're able to kind of, again, get you in that slight deficit point that's going to help you facilitate some steady fat loss. Okay, so going back into the label stuff. So as you're going through your label, sometimes things are going to have barcodes that you can just scan in, and all the information is going directly into the app. Okay, but if it doesn't have a barcode, if it's something you're making from scratch, we are going to be putting the information into the app. So first thing we want to look at is the serving of whatever you're using. Okay, and I totally get it. It's a little bit of a hassle, but the great thing is you're going to learn so much about the food you're eating, your preferences. It is 100% worth it to take 3 or 4 weeks and just start putting this stuff in the app and learning about it. Okay. So first you want to look at the serving size of whatever food you have here. Okay. So again, let's say you've got a pack of almonds. All right. You want to look and see okay, what is the serving? Is it a cup of almonds? Is it 2 ounces of almonds? And you're going to put that in the app. Okay. It becomes really important there. Okay. We talked about overall calories. This is the combination of fats, carbs, proteins all together. Okay. And again, for our purposes, we're not going to get fixated on carbs or fats. It'd be great if there was a balance between the two. But if you find your diet leans more towards fats than carbs, not a problem as long as the total calories are where they need to be. Okay. And again, next week, the week after, we may dig into some of these, hey, let's look at fiber, let's look at sugar, let's look at cholesterol, sodium. We may go into that down the road, but for right now, we want to mainly focus on creating that slight caloric deficit. So we're going to be watching that more than anything else right now, just to make sure that we've got you in a good place with that. Okay. And again, what I think is going to happen is again, 4 weeks of you doing this, this takes about 30 seconds before or after a meal. I would recommend doing this before you eat. It kind of locks you into that commitment, like this is what I'm going to have. I'd recommend doing it before you eat. But what you're going to do is you try to learn the impact your food has. Okay, so you're going to get to learn what, that slice of cheese on your sandwich is actually worth in calories, what salad dressing you like, what that's worth in calories. And you can evaluate, how much I like it. And so the cool thing about what you're doing versus what a lot of people do when they just kind of hop on a diet and they try to follow a plan is we're able to just take the foods that you like right now and start to adapt them. Okay. You may find there's foods you enjoy that you can only have every now and again. Okay. So this sort of way of looking at things doesn't force you to say, I'm never going to eat blank again. Okay. So if you want a brownie, hey, that's great. It's a fun food. It's not something that should be a part of your diet, but you can find a place in your day for a brownie, right? So you can adjust calories to accommodate that. Or you just say, hey, I don't really love brownies that much. I'm just going to not have it, right? It's just not worth throwing my numbers off for the day. So I think it's a great tool in just showing you the impact of food. And I hope it's incredibly helpful. I think that it will be, just because, again, you're going to learn so much about what you're doing with food. So, man, I hope that's helpful for you. If you see questions that come across, let me know. Otherwise, good luck in your tracking.